We have breaking news in the WVLT newsroom. This massive fire.
Here in the recycling plant, the flames are still burning.
Continue to hear more of those loud explosions. Fire department saying that's because of propane tanks.
The fire is burning right behind your building.
See, there's houses that are right here next to the fire.
Again, they are evacuating some 65 homes.
In the way that this could have gone, I think it was a great job by Knoxville Fire Department.
Keith, let's try and show this. This is something that I was able to shoot. What I did is I walked up next to this building and then back through the woods. That's the main meat of the fire. That's the recycling plant. There's the railroad tracks that separate these homes and this business, and the fire is right next to it. There were mounds of materials there because of the black smoke, likely plastic. There are paper and cardboard, which is one of the reasons the fire probably started and spread so quickly. And then those booms we're hearing, folks. We've been told by a couple of experts, including DJ Corcoran with the fire department and the folks here at Coastal Supply, that those are likely empty propane tanks that are being recycled. They just get so hot that they blow, they expand and blow.
They just pushed us back as we continue to hear more of those loud explosions. Right now, the fire department is saying that's because of propane tanks. Just what you heard right there, those loud explosions. We've heard about a dozen or so just within the past 10 minutes.
See, there's houses that are right here next to the fire. What they have not done, and we have not seen on these houses, is telling these people to leave.
This little yellow house right here, Keith, I don't know if you can get that. The man who owns that house and lives in that house is about a block away, and he's very nervous right now, concerned that this fire could catch and spread.
This paper starting to come down more. This is actually the largest piece that we've been able to get we've caught here. That's a pretty solid piece of paper, and it's still kind of just coming down behind us.
As we circle the area, you can see how thick the smoke is. You can see how dense it is. And I will give you, I'm going to try to get back around and maybe come in from a different angle right now, but this gives you a pretty good idea of what we're seeing from the air.
A malfunctioning piece of equipment within the recycling plant seems to have sparked this fire. That's the initial determination from fire investigators. We're also learning 25 employees who work at the Fort Loudon Waste and Recycling Plant have evacuated safely.
John lives about 2 or 3 homes down this way. First, tell me how you found out about it and then what you did. John Human, another boom.
So I was driving in the neighborhood right before the fire trucks actually made it to the plant. And so I came over here immediately, and when I got out, there was embers burning everywhere. I got my hose out, was spraying the yard, spraying embers that flew on the roof.
You guys okay? You guys okay? There's a gas line up here. There's a gas line on the tracks right there. Is that something to watch out for? We're on TV live, by the way, just so you know. So we got the fire burning here.
Yes, it's really red hot right there.
You say they're shooting right where your house is. Is your house okay?
Yeah, it's okay. They said it wasn't going to get over there. It might make it to the trees, but it's not going to go across the fence.
This is something, we just got the call. Whoa, something just blew up there. Wow.
You guys get going.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good luck.
It is so big that Chief Meteorologist Heather Haley can now see it on her radar.
So this is the perspective of that plume of smoke coming out of North Knoxville. Folks in Union County into Granger County, you could easily be seeing some of this smoke.
We have learned that they're working to bring an excavator in to potentially help crews get to the source of the fire.
We are now inside the site where the fire has been burning. You can get an idea of how much has been contained, how much of this the firefighters have been able to tackle. This is the recycling plant. You see tons of tin, metal, these metal buildings here that have melted. What we have here are the ends being beaten back by firefighters, but there is an intense but condensed blaze still burning in the center. Most of the homes around us are evacuated tonight. People having to spend the night with friends in hotels or at a shelter. It's not clear when people will be able to move back, but we do know that fire is probably going to rage for days.
That heavy rain just keeps on going.
We've had about 3 inches of rain, the possibility of another 2 inches of additional rain in the heart of Knox County.
This is usually a little creek, and it's just out of control.
I'm on Concord Street. This water is extremely deep.
We've been here 10 years and I've never seen it get up even close to this.
Several teams are doing swift water rescue.
You can see right here behind me is the minivan still trapped. The water completely up over the hood now. We've been out here for a few minutes and the water continues to rise.
Right in front of us, a Honda just plows right through the flood water. People are honking at her and stuff.
So he's getting looks like a kid out of the back seat, my goodness. So the officer is carrying the child. There's your police officer. He's getting another child out.
About a dozen cars floating in the water in Lenoir City. This is Dr. Marty's car care. It's along East Broadway Street. And he says these are customers' cars that he's been trying to work on. He's never seen flooding this bad before. Didn't think it was going to get this bad, so he didn't move his cars this morning.
Crews got Anderson and his 2 dogs across safely, walking through the current.
I can't say enough for them. They really risk their lives to get me out of there and my dogs.
We're still working to learn why this guy was in the water in the first place.
We had more than a month's worth in about 12 to 15 hours today, but there's more on the way.
This is part of Powell High School's property. You can see it is largely underwater tonight.
You just tell them, do you want to die? Because if you're going to drive through it, there's a potential for you doing that.
And a lot of folks will stop here and take a picture, but today folks are stopping to take pictures of this incredible sight here with all the water that's rushing down. This normally is a spill area. This is Perry's Mill. This is where the mill used to be, so you had the overspill.
Knoxville police say animal control helped save this dog along with a handful of other pets today.
When this storm hit, it just brought all of the debris from the lake that's right in front of the event center. But we're talking, there's pillows. Look at this. There's a pillow that's right here.
Just kind of shocked. This is what's left of Suzanne Vickers' 3-level home.
You just don't prepare for something like that.
They have never experienced anything like this. They actually don't have flood insurance because they never expected this.
That's Kenny Bailey. He runs the new ferry.
I grew up here. I've lived here all my life.
About 50 people rely on his boat. The commute to their jobs now has a detour.
This neighborhood over here, one of these houses just shouted that we had to be rescued during the afternoon yesterday, and they just got power back on 5 minutes ago.
It just keeps coming up every day. Never done this.
Brandy Anderson's been moving furniture out of her home since last Thursday. It's a frustrating time for this single mom while the water keeps rising.
It's just a matter of time. It's going to keep going up. It goes up every day.
But the water has been up to 2 feet inside Erica Grandstaff's home over the past 3 weeks. She's actually had to move. She and her 6 kids have lived in this house for the past 25 years. And now the home she wanted to pass to her kids is probably going to be condemned. We got some aerial footage and some shots inside the home. I can tell you the black mold already forming.
Flames shooting through the roof of one of Tennessee's oldest courthouses.
We have all hands on deck covering the breaking news we were first to tell you about.
We've just been told to move out of the way. There's too much smoke here.
Justin, we watched one of your Facebook Lives. The smoke was so bad, firefighters actually started moving you back.
An emotional night for a lot of people because of what's been lost there.
It just brings tears to my eyes. Part of history is going to be destroyed.
We've got full-length videos from our crews.
You can see it all in the WVLT News app. Make sure you sign up for that.
It looks like it's appearing to grow. The ladder trucks have gone what appears to be back up. I'm not sure if they're going to spray with those ladder trucks.
We got to back up. If that thing goes, it's going to get real bad.
The mayor of Loudoun County asking us to back up now. It appears that it's going to be getting worse.
Everybody down the end of the street.
Okay. We're moving this way, everybody, and we've been asked by law enforcement to move out of the way. There are several people out here kind of taking in what's going on here in the downtown Loudoun area.
Need y'all to find a clear place where there's no smoke to go.
Yes, sir. We've just been told to move out of the way. There's too much smoke here by the Loudoun County Fire Department. It's hard to breathe out here. The smoke is so thick. The fire department is asking us to back up.
We have team coverage from the heart of Loudoun tonight where things are going downhill fast. Part of the roof of the county's historic courthouse has collapsed after that massive fire broke out around dinner time. It is a dangerous situation for the firefighters who are now finally able to get inside the structure and tackle hot spots. It's also been dangerous for about 100 people who are trying to get as close as they can to see what's happening. The courthouse has stood longer than anyone has been alive.
And you can still probably see some of the smoke kind of rising and some of that hazy fog, but the flames are now completely out, and now you have that real strong smell of that smoke that's going to be lingering here for, I'm sure, a couple of days. Kind of that reminder of the devastation here tonight.
Here's our WVLT News investigation.
We were both just babies. I was 17.
After decades of marriage, it's only natural that a husband and wife
There's my beautiful wife.
will settle into defined roles. Lois is the jokester.
Here's the one where you was trying to show me your muscles.
Clyde is the fixer.
Going in, tearing something out, fixing it, standing back and looking and saying, boy, that really looks a lot better. That's just my thing.
But when Clyde got sick with pancreatitis,
I almost lost my life partner.
he was the one in need of fixing.
Yes. The love of my life. I almost lost him. And I can't imagine it. Very emotional, yes.
She says she almost lost Clyde after a home health nurse cared for him.
It was just a nightmare after that lady left my home.
Lois says the woman who came to care for her husband,
Do you remember that face? That is her, yes.
is identified as Misty Dawn Bacon, the same woman the Jefferson City Police Department says it's investigating for allegedly posing as a nurse. Lois says Bacon showed up at the house to give Clyde insulin through his food bag.
I remember the nurse coming in, putting the food bag on me and getting me situated and her leaving. And then I remember getting tired and then I sort of went out.
He was drooling. He couldn't hold his head up. He couldn't sit up or nothing.
Clyde was taken to the now closed Lakeway Regional Hospital back in 2013. Hospital records from that visit show he was admitted because of an overuse of insulin.
An East Tennessee nurse says lives were in danger when a woman stole her nursing license number.
But Lois says she didn't put two and two together until she watched our exclusive coverage this year.
She says that woman used the stolen number to get a job as a home health nurse where she cared for patients illegally.
She came in here pretending to be something she wasn't. It was as dangerous as me pretending to be a brain surgeon and going in and doing surgery. And I'm going to kill that person when I do because I have no clue of what I'm doing. And that was her.
Lieutenant Eric Thomas with the Jefferson City Police Department says several others were fooled as well. In fact, he says in Jefferson City alone, 4 businesses all hired her. He says one of them was this home health care company called Amedisys. Clyde and Lois never contacted the police, but Amedisys did. This report, filed with Jefferson City Police by an office manager at Amedisys, sparked an investigation by detectives. It alleges that Bacon provided a false birth certificate and a nursing license number belonging to someone else to get the job at Amedisys. Several months after making the report,
Dear Mrs. Rimmer,
Amedisys then went one step further, warning patients with this letter to people like Thomas Rimmer's mother.
when we got the letter, it shocked us very well. Well, I mean, it shocked us bad.
The letter explained that it fired Misty Dawn Bacon because she, quote, lied about her identity and did not have a nursing license.
I was like, oh no, she took care of my mom, and messing with the meds, it could be harmful to her health.
In its report filed with Jefferson City Police, Amedisys alleged Bacon engaged in fraud and identity theft, painting a picture of an elaborate lie, built on this woman's truth.
I received a call from an agent with the TBI. They wanted to let me know that my nursing license had been utilized by someone else.
Misty Dawn Vanette is a licensed nurse. Jefferson City Police say Bacon used Vanette's license number to work at Amedisys.
It is truly terrifying to me, and I would hate to think what she's done and what decisions she's made without having that license. She could have potentially killed someone.
Lieutenant Thomas says Bacon likely plucked Vanette's license number from this public state database. It lists the name and license number of every healthcare provider in the state of Tennessee, and it took me just 6 seconds to find Misty Vanette's information online. State officials say the database is there so that you can research providers and see complaints that have been filed against them before making appointments. But Vanette says it left her vulnerable.
All of our personal information is accessible online with that number. It may just be a license number, but it's a license number.
Lieutenant Thomas says that this case reaches far beyond Jefferson City. He says in January of this year, he teamed up with the TBI and determined that Bacon had pulled the same stunt in so many other jurisdictions, it was best to ask the U.S. Attorney's Office to open one unified case. The TBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office will not confirm if they have an open investigation, and criminal charges have not been filed against Bacon. We couldn't find any record of civil charges filed against her either. So, what does she say about the accusations?
Hello? This is Amanda. We're hoping that we can get your side before it airs.
The only thing I want to say is 99% of stuff that you all are hearing is not true. That is all I want to say.
What exactly does Misty Dawn Bacon dispute? We showed up at her home hoping to find out.
We've got a home health care company that says you lied about being a nurse. Is that true?
She don't have any comments, like I said before.
Misty didn't answer. Instead, she walked inside the home and shut the door.
It's very scary.
So you hear about a situation like this, and as a doctor, your mind goes where?
Senator Richard Briggs is a medical doctor and also represents parts of Knox County.
Well, first of all, this is one of the most egregious cases that I've heard about.
So how does this happen? Well, the state does not require fingerprint verification in order for a healthcare provider to get a job. So Senator Briggs says the only answer is lawsuits. He says that'll force companies to change their background check policies. But Clyde isn't the suing type.
Sure, I could have probably sued and got lawyers and went through all this and, I don't know, maybe got a few dollars.
Instead, the fixer at heart and his wife prefer to sound the alarm using the one tool they have, their voices.
I just hope this will help someone, I really do. Ever who she was around, maybe they'll see it and maybe it'll give them courage to step forward with it.
Major developments on a story that we were first to break. Back in August, we aired Amanda's investigation. It focused on a woman who at the time was accused of posing as a nurse.
Well, today her alleged victims tell me months of fighting for justice has finally paid off. We broke the news this afternoon that Misty Dawn Bacon has signed a federal plea deal. Court documents show that she agrees to plead guilty to wire fraud, healthcare fraud, and using the identities of real nurses to pass herself off as legit. Misty Dawn Bacon signed the agreement Monday. It was filed in court this morning.
Misty, anything at all you want to say? Misty Dawn Bacon said nothing. The Knoxville woman accepted a plea agreement in federal court. Anything you want to say to those alleged victims? Bacon pleaded guilty to using the identities of real nurses to pass herself off as legit. Her boyfriend was by her side. Anything you would like to say?
I'd like for you to get out of my face.
Earlier this year, we talked to Clyde and Lois Harless. The couple told us Bacon was Clyde's home health nurse and gave him too much insulin. He later went to the hospital.
It's scary. I can't imagine life without him.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Knowing that I could have been gone.
Now they're spending the holidays together, knowing nearly 7 years ago could have been Clyde's last.
When my husband first got sick, and they brought her into my home to take care of him, my full trust was in her.
They're still fighting for justice and new laws. Misty and her boyfriend continued without comment. So did her attorney, Nikki Pierce. Ms. Pierce, is there anything you want to say on behalf of your client? She said nothing. Misty will be back in court in April for sentencing. In Greenville, Robert Grant, WVLT News.
Bacon faces up to 45 years in prison and up to $750,000 in fines.
This is WVLT News.
We got a lawyer running for president.
Now, that's not the only controversial comment our cameras captured coming from a Sevier County commissioner last night. We're going to get to more explosive comments and moments that you'll only see here on WVLT News. Justin, plenty of city and county leaders have stepped forward tonight, really trying to distance themselves from the commissioner's comments. Is anyone showing any real concern about this?
Yeah, Amanda, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and Sevierville all coming out against those statements from that commissioner last night.
Well, the head of Sevier County Democrats was at the meeting last night and ended up walking out of that meeting. Our Robert Grant spent time with her today. And Robert, surprisingly, Sarah Thompson, she doesn't want a resignation. She simply wants an apology.
Exactly that, Amanda. Sarah Thompson says it was painful to hear the commissioner's comments, but tonight she's only asking for an apology.
If there are currently laws that the petitioners find fault with.
A gun proposal brought Sarah Thompson to Monday night's county commission meeting. She spoke out against the proposal, then heard something she never expected.
I got a choir around for president.
Commissioner Warren Hurst's comments drove her away.
I was actually incensed. I think that was a very demeaning and nasty thing to even talk about. So I stood up and said, excuse me, this is unprofessional.
Commissioner Hurst has arrived for the meeting. He got here about 15 minutes ago or so and went around the room and greeted other commissioners. We're talking quietly because the door is open and they have just called the meeting to order with a prayer.
Hurst really didn't say anything tonight publicly.
He did not say anything publicly. He did speak to a couple of commissioners. As you said, Ted, when he entered the room, he shook their hands and greeted them almost a business as usual. But tonight we had another room full of people, this time wanting to speak on a different topic, which included him.
Commissioner Warren Hurst entered the commission room by shaking hands with other commissioners several minutes before the meeting was called to order. He stayed quiet throughout the meeting as speakers took to the podium, both supporting his comments and denouncing them.
Treat others the way that you want to be treated. And I don't think that necessarily you meant the words that you said and the way that you said them. And if you do, I'm sorry. That doesn't represent the Bible that I read. The equality sought by some is equality denied to one, the one in whom spoke. And Mr. Hurst, I want to thank you. I support you.
Hurst then left the room, did not answer any of our questions for comment after that.
You know, it's incredible the amount of rain we've gotten in the last few days and the conditions it's created. Things like this and like this. I mean, it's unbelievable. But here on campus, we've got a baseball game going on. No, flooding and baseball don't typically go together, but thanks to the new artificial surface, rain's really not an issue.
Oh, no! Come on, I give up.
Caleb.
Oh, okay. Yes, listen, we got NCAA basketball 2010 going on right here. We're playing Tennessee against Kentucky, and they made me play with Kentucky, so I'm losing on purpose. We'll just say that. Look, we got students out here outside Thompson Bowling Arena camping out like 19 hours before tip-off tomorrow against Kentucky. Gotta love this. Let's check it out. Now, a couple hours before tip-off, they'll open up these doors and there'll be a mad rush to get the best seats possible. Hold her up tight, make a little loving, a little turn on and on. What was that? Oh, come on, what loving on the May Sunday sunlight.
Fistball, talking trash.
Yeah, there's been beef this season.
It's almost like a standoff.
But Tennessee's beef comes wrapped up in a tortilla shell with lettuce. His name is Colin Castleberry, but he goes by the TBA Taco. Come get some taco! Come get some taco! How's it feel to have this beautiful orange in the middle?
The All Scripture Baptist Church says on its website that God says homosexuality should be punished by death. The website also says homosexuals are not allowed to attend church or join the church.
You know, I preach what the Bible says, and what the Bible says is not popular.
Grayson Fritz defends his comments outside All Scripture Baptist Church.
I'm just saying one of the laws of the United States should be to put homos to death. Right, amen.
Fritz is a detective with the Knox County Sheriff's Office. He says his beliefs never interfered with his work.
If I worked at the Burger King and someone from the LGBT community came in and they ordered a hamburger, I would make them a hamburger because that was what my job would be. You understand? Even if I felt differently towards that person and felt exactly the way I feel and believe, I would still do my job.
Sheriff Tom Spangler says Fritz is taking early retirement and is on paid sick leave until late July. Fritz delivered his Wednesday night sermon as he has for about 2 years as pastor. His message?
Standing up for the right things, and being persecuted, for doing the right things.
His comments also sparking an investigation by District Attorney General Char Mallon. She said in a statement, "I always have and always will prosecute fairly and justly based on the law and the evidence." Before his latest sermon, someone left this note outside the church. It said, "Dear Pastor Fritz, I don't know what happened to you, but I am so sorry. Love thy neighbor."
And I turned and he somehow got out the door.
And it happens so fast. Every time I close my eyes at night to go to sleep, replays in my head.
It was the worst day. Don't ever think it won't happen to you, because it can.
It is a public health crisis.
It's the leading cause of death in children.
We're failing them. Our culture is failing them.
We have to change the conversation.
We want to ensure they're able to help themselves around water.
You need to know how to swim. It's just a life-saving skill.
It's a crisis, for sure. And I don't think people realize it.
Hello and thanks for joining us for a WVLT News special presentation, Crisis in the Water. I'm Brittany Tarwater. Drowning is the #1 cause of death in children ages 1 to 4, aside from birth defects, and the second leading cause of death in our teenagers, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics. Now, you may think this comes a little late. It's the end of summer and swim season is coming to a close. Well, I like to call the rest of the year, especially the fall, learn to swim season. As a swimmer my whole life, the statistics of drowning make me worry for the health and future of our children's safety. On top of all the fears and concerns I already have as I'm about to become a new mother, I want to know how I can protect my own child from losing his life in the water, because even as a swimmer, I didn't know the dangers. Why isn't the #1 killer of our babies a conversation that pediatricians are having with parents at every well child visit? Why aren't there strict swimming guidelines that every parent knows about? Well, now there are. I've spent the last year talking with families across the country and here in East Tennessee who are sharing the deep heartache of losing their babies to drowning, but who are brave enough to push for change to save the lives of other children. Over the next 30 minutes, we're talking about the danger surrounding water for our children and what we can do to save them. What products experts say we should be using and which ones we may think are safe, but are doing more harm than good. Not just young children, but risks for teenagers as well. How does drowning kill teens who think they know how to swim? And finally, practicing safe swimming for life. Swim lessons lessen the likelihood of a child drowning by nearly 90%. We'll have tips on how to choose the right swim lessons for your children.